The film opens with a chilling scene. A woman is tied to a wooden post, visibly distressed. Her husband, Jacob, at Prachezitz, revealed that he is the one who has restrained her. She pleads with him not to hurt her, insisting that something beyond her control is influencing her actions. But Jacob, emotionally detached, doesn't respond to her cries. Just then, an ancient-looking book falls to the floor with a thud. Alarmed, the woman urgently warns Jacob not to open it. But despite her pleas, Jacob opens the book. The pages seem to shift on their own, displaying illustrations that move and change. It becomes evident that this book holds a dark power. Moments later, eerie supernatural entities appear. The woman suddenly changes, her eyes darken, her voice takes on an unnatural tone. She accuses Jacob of committing a terrible act involving their daughters. Overcome with fear and confusion, Jacob makes a drastic choice, leading to a tragic moment. But then comes a horrifying realization. It was all an illusion, crafted by the entities to deceive him. Shaken, Jacob stumbles outside and is stunned to see his daughter alive in a pit nearby. But before he can fully comprehend the moment, a dark figure appears and attacks him, bringing the scene to a devastating close. This intense opening sets the stage for the unsettling story that follows. We are then introduced to Cinderella, a young girl living with her stepmother, Lady Diana, and two stepsisters, Ingrid and Hannah. From the start, we see that Lady Diana treats Cinderella harshly, speaking unkindly to her and forcing her to do household work like a servant. After scolding her, Lady Diana exits the room. Meanwhile, Prince Levin visits their home and is seen spending time with Ingrid. When he hears another voice, Cinderella, she asks about it. Ingrid, trying to cover up, claims it was just one of their house staff. Back in her room, we see Cinderella confiding her thoughts and experiences in her diary. Every emotional wound and moment of pain, she records it all. Despite the mistreatment, she holds on to the hope that her father will return and change her fate. Later, Cinderella serves breakfast to Ingrid and Hannah, who treat her coldly, continuing the pattern of unkindness. Suddenly, another maid, Anya, trips and injures her foot. Cinderella immediately rushes to help her, showing her kind nature. Cinderella gently tells Anya to take some rest, but Anya, frightened and hesitant, says she has no choices, she must keep working. Before Cinderella can respond, her stepmother, Lady Grimhilda, suddenly appears behind them. With a stern voice, she declares that Anya will work, whether she's injured or not. The scene shifts. Now we see Cinderella and Anya alone, having a quiet conversation. Anya, concerned for Cinderella, says she's young, beautiful, why doesn't she just run away from all this misery? But Cinderella explains that Lady Grimhilda told her that her father has simply gone to town and will return soon. It's this hope that keeps her from leaving. Just then, Anya's young son sneaks into the kitchen and steals a piece of bread. The three of them share it quietly, cherishing the small comfort. Meanwhile, outside the home, a grand royal carriage arrives. King Grimsby and Queen Mildred have come with their son, Prince Gilbert, on a mission to find the perfect girl for him to marry. As they enter the house, the stepsisters, Ramona and Beatrice, rush forward to greet them, trying to impress. But the king and queen aren't impressed by either of them. Looking for a moment of escape, Prince Gilbert excuses himself under the pretense of needing the restroom. As he wanders through the house, Cinderella notices that Anya is still in pain. Determined to help, she makes a brave decision. She'll sneak into her stepmother's room to steal medicine for Anya. She knows there's no other way. She successfully steals the medicine, but on her way out, she accidentally bumps into Prince Gilbert. The prince is immediately taken aback by Cinderella's beauty. He invites her outside, where he compliments her and gently asks if she would join him at the upcoming ball. The ball is a formal Gatheringa dance party where the prince hopes to find a bride. Cinderella is overwhelmed with joy at the invitation. Later, back inside, Prince Gilbert announces to everyone that he wants Cinderella to attend the ball. The look on Lady Grimhilda's face says it all. She's stunned and furious. But Prince Gilbert is firm. He insists that Cinderella be brought to the ball. Once the royals leave, Lady Grimhilda storms towards Cinderella and slaps her across the face. Cinderella, it seems, is being punished simply for being noticed by the prince. Lady Grimhilda then grabs Anya and takes her to another room. She sits her down in a chair and delivers a chilling message comparing servants to horses. She says that when a horse is healthy and useful, its owner keeps it, but when it's no longer of use, it's abandoned, or worse. Though she doesn't say it directly, it's clear she suspects Cinderella stole the medicine for Anya. Lady Grimhilda and her daughters, Ramona and Beatrice, drag Anya down to the basement. What happens next is cruel and harrowing. The three begin lashing Anya. Then Ramona picks up a sharp metal hook and strikes Anya across the face. Anya collapses in pain. Cinderella watches in horror. Anya, bloodied and broken, begs her to end her suffering. Lady Grimhilda, cold and calculating, hands Cinderella a sharp object and tells her to do itto, put Anya out of her misery. Torn apart inside, Cinderella finally gives in and ends Anya's suffering. Afterwards, Lady Grimhilda orders her to dispose of the body. The scene changes. We now see Ramona approaching Prince Gilbert, visibly angry. As revealed earlier, Ramona and the prince had a secret affair. She's furious that he invited Cinderella to the ball, but the prince remains calm. He assures her that there's a deeper reason for his decision, something she'll understand later. Meanwhile, Cinderella begins digging a grave for Anya in a quiet corner of the garden. While digging, she finds something, the same cursed book we saw in the film's opening. She looks at it, confused, and decides to keep it with her. Afterwards, she returns inside, serves dinner to Lady Grimhilda and the two sisters, and quietly begins preparing something simple for herself. On this particular day, Lady Diana seemed to be in a slightly better mood, and for once, she allowed Cinderella to sit and eat with her. Seated at the table, Cinderella cautiously asked about Anya's son. Lady Diana casually replied that he had gone to town. But Cinderella, remembering the same excuse was once used to explain her father's disappearance, hinted at her suspicions. This clearly upset Lady Diana. You know how it is when someone hides the truth and is questioned, their anger gives them away. That's exactly what happened here. Cinderella tried to eat, but strange, terrifying dreams haunted her visions sparked by the mysterious book she had found earlier. Disturbed and unsettled, she quietly left the table and returned to her room without eating. Later, Hannah, one of Lady Diana's daughters, came to her. She handed Cinderella her glass slipper, claiming it didn't fit her anymore. As she handed it over, Hannah began boasting how Prince Levin had touched her, hinting that she might be the chosen one. Cinderella, being kind-hearted and hopeful, felt excited hearing this. But little did she know, Hannah had a trick up her sleeve. She slyly stole Cinderella's personal diary, the one where she had written her deepest thoughts and feelings. That night, something strange happened. As Cinderella lay asleep, a dark spirit entered her room. It had been summoned because of the very book that had been disturbing her. Surprisingly, the spirit turned out to be a female demon other than the twisted version of a fairy godmother. She thanked Cinderella for summoning her. This dark fairy godmother claimed she could solve all of Cinderella's problems, but as she moved closer, Cinderella screamed in fear. In the morning, Ingrid woke her up, reminding her about the royal ball happening that evening. Cinderella first helped Ingrid get ready and, to her surprise, Ingrid gave Cinderella a dress to wear. This act of kindness touched Cinderella deeply, and she hugged Ingrid warmly. But as soon as she stepped downstairs, Lady Diana stopped her. She told Cinderella that she wouldn't be going anywhere and needed to stay back and work. Saddened, Cinderella asked again about Anya's son. Lady Diana repeated her story that he had gone to town looking for his mother. In truth, Anya's son had been told that his mother had gone to town for some work. But we, the viewers, already know what really happened. And now Cinderella started to piece it together. Lady Diana had lied, not just about the boy, but also about her own father. Then, Lady Diana and her daughters left for the ball, leaving Cinderella heartbroken and in tears. Meanwhile, in a shocking twist, we see Anya's Sonhei hadn't gone to town at all. He was tied up somewhere in the house itself. Lady Diana had lied to everyone. Oblivious to this truth, Cinderella went to the magical book and opened it. As soon as she did, the pages began writing themselves. Shapes and words appeared magically, and Cinderella found herself face to face with the demonic fairy godmother again. Her disciples were also present this time. The fairy godmother offered her 3 wishes. Cinderella made 2 right away. First, she wished to see Prince Levin, and second, to dance with him. As for the 3rd wish, the fairy godmother told her to save it for later. She then transformed Cinderella, giving her a beautiful dress and making all the arrangements to send her to the ball. As Cinderella entered the royal ball, all eyes turned to her. She looked breathtaking. Ingrid herself took her to Prince Levin, and the 2 began to dance. During the dance, Cinderella found the courage to express her feelings, telling the prince that she thought she was in love with him. But Prince Levin only smiled cruelly and said he could never fall in love with a girl like her. Then, without warning, he pushed her away. Before Cinderella could even process what had happened, he revealed the cruel truth: it had all been a plan by Ingrid. Cinderella was brought to the ball purely for their amusement. Then, in front of everyone, he kissed Ingrid right there. That wasn't the end of the humiliation. He pulled out her private diary, the one Hannah had stolen, began reading from it in front of the whole crowd. The diary mentioned how Cinderella had met someone incredible, someone humble and kind, which was about him. But right after, he spat in disgust. Lady Diana joined in, pouring wine all over Cinderella. Crushed by pain, Cinderella finally used her 3rd and final wish. She stood before the fairy godmother and demanded revenge. The fairy godmother agreed, but warned her after this last wish, Cinderella would have to join them. That meant surrendering her soul. Cinderella had already lost everything, so she accepted the condition. The wish was granted. Cinderella was transformed, her presence now fierce, dangerous. Dark, demonic powers flowed through her. And when she appeared again, everyone was utterly shocked to see her return. A brutal massacre unfolded as the disciples of the fairy godmother, grotesque, demonic beings, appeared and began attacking people one by one. These disciples were likely the very souls who had made deals with her in the past. Cinderella, too, joined the carnage. Wielding her deadly glass slipper, she began striking down everyone who tried to flee. But she kept advancing methodically until she finally reached Prince Levin. With no mercy, she killed his father right before him. Simultaneously, the godmother's demons swarmed over his mother, consuming her alive. Levin stood there, devastated. Perhaps now he was beginning to understand the depth of what he'd unleashed. Lady Ingrid arrived just in time and pulled Levin out of there. Alongside Diana and Hannah, they regrouped, trying to comprehend the nightmare unfolding around them. But Cinderella was drawing closer, and fearing for their lives, they scattered except Hannah, who got left behind. Cinderella soon found her. Holding out the infamous glass slipper, she demanded that Hannah try it on. Hannah hesitated and told her that her feet were too big, it wouldn't fit. Cinderella, unbothered, summoned her demons to hold Hannah down. In a horrifying act, she took a blade and cut off Hannah's toes to force the shoe to fit. In agony, Hannah screamed, but Cinderella showed no mercy and struck her down with the glass slipper, ending her life. Meanwhile, Levin and Ingrid, from a distance, heard Hannah's chilling cries. Levin told Ingrid to stay put for a moment, and she did. But Levin, instead of helping, took advantage of the moment. He hurled a pot at Ingrid, trapping her and using the opportunity to run away, abandoning her to her fate. Ingrid, who had believed she was close to him, was left to face death alone. Cinderella was now closing in on Ingrid. Ingrid tried to hide, but Cinderella eventually found her and attacked her eyes with the glass slipper. Her cries were silenced as she too was finished. Meanwhile, Prince Levin had locked himself inside his bedroom, hoping to be safe. But then came a knock, and a familiar voice, Ingrid's voice, begging him to open the door. Believing it was her, he unlocked it. A fatal mistake. Cinderella entered. Levin panicked, trying to explain everything, claiming it was all Ingrid's plan and that she made him do it. But Cinderella no longer cared. She pushed him onto the bed. Levin now tried to beg, saying he chose her, that he would stay with her, but it was too late for redemption. Cinderella summoned the disciples again. They pounced on Levin, and he met a slow, tormenting Endy's cries echoing through the palace. Her revenge almost complete, Cinderella now went after her stepmother, Lady Diana. Diana had just reached her carriage when her men noticed something was off. They attempted to protect her, but Cinderella and her demons tore through them. She set fire to the carriage itself, ensuring Diana couldn't escape. Diana, however, managed to reach Cinderella and tried one last trick flattery. She told Cinderella that she was far braver than her own father, who had cried like a child when she tried to slit his throat. These words shattered Cinderella. Until now, she hadn't known her father was dead. Diana had killed him too. Despite her rage, Cinderella couldn't bring herself to kill Diana at that moment. After all, no matter how cruel, she had raised her. But Diana pushed her luck too far, insulting Cinderella's father again. That was the final straw. With a single gesture, Cinderella summoned flames, engulfing her stepmother in fire. Diana screamed until she was no more. Her revenge was complete. Now, the fairy godmother reappeared. She offered Cinderella a place beside her to join her as her disciple. But Cinderella had had enough of serving others. She smashed her glass slipper into the godmother's head, ending her once and for all. The disciples, watching this, realized their leader was gone. For a moment, they were lost. But then they turned to Cinderella. They had found their new queen. Cinderella, who had always deserved to be a queeno, finally was. She became the queen of the disciples, commanding darkness, vengeance, and power. And with that, boom, the movie Cinderella's Curse comes to a close. This was a chilling and brutal tale of transformation and revenge. The gore and horror effects made the film stand out, offering a twisted and unforgettable reimagining of a beloved fairy tale character. Who would have thought we'd one day see Cinderella like this? Cinderella was different. She had compassion, especially towards those who had been used or manipulated. The movie ends here. Thank you for watching.